Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are so excited to have our next guest joining us. Yes, it's Marla Roberds. She joins us here again live today to talk more about her work at Kissing Tree Properties. And by the way, she's our professional of the year and always excited to have her here as a principal designer, founder of her own company. She loves interior design, does an amazing job. Also, so unique, she's licensed in Arkansas as a real estate agent. So she really can provide that unique perspective, as we say, right, on how to help maintain the value of your home. So welcome back. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, Jill?
I'm doing great, sweetheart. So kissingtreeproperties.com. Tell us a little bit about your company, and we'll get started on today's topics.
Okay, we started in 2017 with actually flipping houses here in Northwest Arkansas, and it grew to remodels for private clients, and it also grew to doing new construction. I build spec homes in the Northwest Arkansas area, predominantly in the South Fayetteville area, which is like a very kind of up and coming-ish, kind of trendy, just walkability is great. You know, it's just a great area. And also doing a lot of interior design for private clients. So it's all kind of balled into real estate, and everything I do has a lot of heart and soul. I want people to love a house they buy from me, or a house I designed for them, or a house that I've built. I look at these homes and I go, if I lived here, what would I want?
Yeah.
How would I want to live in this space?
Yeah.
What would make me happy in terms of flow and function and light? And, you know, bring your own furniture, that's great. But what would make it work for you and your family, or just you as an individual? And that's what I think about when I put my heart and soul into a project. So you can find me, of course, at kissingtreeproperties.com. And I can be reached by phone at 479-790-9923. And I also am on house.com under their pro section. And I can be reached at all of those places.
Beautiful. Well, we're excited to have you here. And for today, where did you want to start?
Well, I wanted to talk about something that I learned yesterday. Very interesting. I was on a webinar with another designer, and she also is an award-winning designer. And I love listening to other perspectives, other points of view, other places where people have touched other homeowners' lives. And she made an interesting comment. She said, you know, and I've seen this on House. You know, House is one of those big places where people go to get a lot of inspiration about building homes and buying furniture and designing rooms. And there are thousands and thousands of pictures that you can look at and get ideas. And she said that House did a survey, and they asked the question, are you satisfied with your design, with your home? Did it turn out the way you wanted it to turn out? Are you getting the satisfaction that you were hoping to get after looking at all those pictures on Pinterest?
Yeah.
And House and going through all the magazines and finding what you thought was perfect, and then going out and buying it and bringing it home? 2% of the people that were surveyed were satisfied. 98% of the population doing some kind of redecorating, remodeling, refresh of some sort in their homes were dissatisfied with the way it turned out and the way it looks. And I thought, that's huge. That means most people do not like their homes. They do not like where they live. They do not like anything about what they've done. So she broke it down. And, you know, a lot of this for a lot of designers is instinctual.
Okay.
You look at it and you just know that this is what happened. And I've worked with clients and unfortunately not been able to work with some clients because of clashes, husband and wife, partners. She wants the designer, he doesn't. He holds the checkbook. Unfortunately, in a lot of these situations, you know, it still feels like the 1950s or 70s for that matter. And what happens is people will go to Pinterest and they'll build a page and they'll go through all these design sites and they'll build a file and, and we're all guilty of it. I do it.
Totally.
Guilty.
I want this. I want that.
Oh, we all, what's new, what's fresh, what are people doing? But here's where the mistake comes. They take these pictures. They have no real clear vision of what the entire thing is going to look like.
Okay.
Which is where a designer can come in for you. And a lot of people are intimidated by working with designers, but the designer can see the big picture. You've seen my pictures. You've seen what I can do.
Beautiful. Amazing work, guys. Go to the website. Check it out.
Thank you. You just know what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And what happens is you take these pictures and you go to a furniture store, you go online, and you see something you like, and it kind of looks like the picture, but you don't take into several accounts. You don't take into account several things. Budget. You don't take into account the larger picture, the strategy behind putting a room together. You don't take into account quality, time frame, all of those things. Does it go with your other furnishings? Is your partner going to be happy with this? Have you discussed this with somebody that you might live in the home with? I mean, I have a client who discussed everything with her teenage son because he lived there and she knew it was going to be as important to him as it was to her to be comfortable in the home. How are you going to use that space? Are you buying a sofa and wanting to only spend $1,000 on a sofa because that seems like a reasonable price and you want to spend more money someplace else, but you live on that sofa? You sit on it every night and watch TV. Your kids are going to be on it. Your dogs are going to be on it. Your cats are going to be on it. So there are so many bits and pieces to putting together a design. And you can do this yourself, but to me, it's like selling your house for sale by owner because you don't want to spend that extra percentage to pay the professional to do the job. And I just had that happen with a client. We went and looked at a house. There was a sign in the yard.
Okay.
It appeared to be for sale by a listing agent.
Okay.
But when I called, I got this woman and I said, can you tell me about the house? What are you asking for? Because we were having trouble finding it on the MLS. And she said, she gave me all this information and I kept asking her questions and she kept giving me almost too much information. Not that we would want to hide something, but she was sharing things that perhaps, in an early on negotiation about a house, you might want to see what the buyer is interested in doing. Okay. Before you start throwing numbers out to somebody and telling them that you'll cut the fee if you make not the fee, but you'll take $25,000 off the price of the house if you put in an offer today. I mean,
she said that?
It dawned on me and I said, are you an agent or are you the homeowner? She said, I'm the homeowner. And I said, gotcha. So what she had done is she had paid a fee to an agency so that they would list the house on the MLS and put a sign in her yard so people could find it. The house had been on the market 100 days. That house should have never been on the market 100 days. It should have been on the market maybe 30, 45 at the most. It had been totally redone on the inside, great piece of property, very affordable neighborhood for a first-time home buyer. But because they didn't use a professional because they were trying to save money, they ended up giving away much more information during a negotiation than she should have. And the house sat on the market way too long. And my buyers got an incredible deal. And I ended up, as the buyer's agent, doing work that a seller's agent should have done to make sure that it ran smoothly. So don't be afraid to use the right professional for your job. Because she could have probably made that 25. My clients would have paid that 25. And the house would have never sat on the market that long. So point is, use a professional. Don't be intimidated by using or hiring somebody to help you through the muddle of trying to design your home.
Beautiful.
So for those of you who don't want to do that, or those of you who have never worked with the designer before and need to be familiar with what is expected of you, the first thing to really narrow down is your style.
Okay.
What do you love? And if you live with somebody else in the home who's going to be putting in their opinion, or your best friend is going to have an opinion, or your mother-in-law is going to have an opinion, and I've worked with those too, kind of have to say, this is your house. They have opinions, but what do you want?
Yeah.
Find out what you want. Take those looks and narrow it down. And then do a little research. You love that sofa. More than likely, if you're on Pinterest or on House or one of those Elle Decor magazine or Lux or Architectural Digest, you're looking at very, very high-end pieces. Everything's expensive. And you do get what you pay for. If you're going to spend $800 on a sofa, you're going to get an $800 sofa. It's going to, not going to wear well, and it's not going to, the fabric's going to pull, and maybe the springs aren't. Maybe there aren't even springs. Maybe it's just cushions, and it starts looking lumpy. Maybe it starts to get, the fabric starts to pull and tear and snag and all of those things. And maybe that $800 sofa goes in your kid's playroom. Perfect. Or maybe it goes in a basement where you don't go down there very often, but occasionally you do, and you need a place to sit and read a book and get away from everybody.
So true.
But in your living room or your family room,
I love this. Yep.
Don't put that cheap furniture. You can save money on end tables. Okay. You can save money on maybe some of your rug. Maybe some of your chairs.
Okay.
But if you're going to live on your sofa, put your money into your sofa.
Yeah.
Get a fabric that's going to hold up. Get a color that's going to hold up. I know everybody loves the white sofas.
Yeah.
Right. It's very, it's very California modern. It's got that beachy look that a lot of people like. And I had a client, and she wanted the white sofa. And I said, tell me how you're going to live in this house. She had a dog. She had 2 dogs with black hair. She had children in the house. She had nieces and nephews in the house. And that sofa was where they were going to sit and watch giant TV and sit by the fireplace. And after dinner, everybody was going to plop on the sofa. And I said, are you sure you want a white sofa? I said, do you really think that is going to suit your needs in the long run the best?
Yeah. And
she went, oh, maybe not. So, we went with a darker color. It wasn't so dark that every piece of lint showed on. It was kind of a nice, pretty neutral. And we were able to work around it and bring in the light colored chairs and bring in nice wood furnishings to go with it. And those are the things that you have to think about before you just walk into a furniture store and say, I like that, I like that, I like that. And then you bring it home and you put it together and go, well, why doesn't this work? Because you didn't have a plan.
Yeah.
So take those pictures and make a plan, just like you're getting ready to put your house on the market. You have a plan. Or just like you're going to prepare a meal. If you're going to cook something, you have a plan. You have a recipe for creating a meal or creating a pie or cake, whatever you're doing, you follow a plan. And you do the same thing when you're decorating your home. So first of all, you got to figure out what it is you like. Do you like modern? Do you like contemporary? Do you like bohemian? Do you like traditional? Do you like glam? Are you into antiques? Do you like a little mix of everything, which is really ideal because that's going to give you the longevity.
Okay.
If you always go into a store and you buy what's in now, and we've talked about this before, after a while, what's in now isn't in anymore. So try to think of your more expensive pieces, your larger pieces should have a classic line. They should have clean lines, or they should have the kind of look that you're going to live with for maybe the next 20 years. Because most people don't just keep going out and buying new furniture.
No.
Dining room tables and chairs are probably the one thing that people will not turn loose. They hang on to those forever. And dining rooms are being used less and less. So the dining room tables are now covered with computers and kids' homework and papers and mail.
So true.
So maybe you don't use a dining room, or maybe you find something that you do want to share with your guests. Yeah. You don't want to hide it behind that door, behind the kitchen, off the living room somewhere. So have a plan. And then when you walk into a store, if you're going to go on your own, or even if you're working with a designer, but you still want to have an idea of what's out there, you want to sit on sofas, you want to sit in chairs, you want to touch. Think about, again, your price point. The better quality pieces are made very well. Stains are real stains. They're not painted to look like wood. They have, drawers that open and close. When I go antiquing, which I love to do
Excuse
because
me.
it's always fun to have. It's always fun to
I
have.
had a cold, and I still have a cold, but
So
little sneeze.
sorry.
I muted it. It's okay. We're okay. Me and my kids. Thank you.
One of the things that I'm always looking at when I look at things that you could use for maybe an end table or nightstands that maybe you don't want all brand new pieces is, do the drawers open and close properly? Nothing worse than drawers that stick. So, your cheaper furniture, they may not slide really well. They're not going to have the higher quality materials that they've used in terms of wood. Maybe it's a wood veneer. Maybe the hardware is hollow. Like your pulls and your knobs. Maybe it doesn't have the little felt on the bottom. It's going to scratch your floors. So those are things to take into consideration. Your higher end furniture is always going to have just the best made quality, and more than likely the best customer service. What goes wrong with a cheap piece of furniture?
So true.
Especially if you bought it online, you may end up owning that piece of furniture or selling it on, marketplace. If you want to be somewhere in the middle, then, Google the manufacturer, look at the reviews. If you're buying from a retailer, Google the retailer, look at the reviews.
Always important.
Get to know the management in a store, because that's going to be the person you're going to be dealing with should something go wrong. I bought some chairs. I bought them out of a store. I wanted them in my living room. They were perfect. And I had I took my husband with me, and he probably sat in 30 chairs. And I said, which ones do you like? Because you're the one who's going to be sitting in this chair. And I needed swivel chairs. And they delivered them. And one of them, the seam was split. Probably happened in shipping. Picked up the phone, called the manager. She said, we'll have a new chair out to you by the end of the week, and we'll take that one back. So get to know your people that you're working with. And when you walk into a store, those furniture salespeople, they're hungry and they're working on commission. And the best thing to do is say, I'll let you know if I need something. Walk through the store. See if the store carries what you're looking for. See if it's the quality that you're looking for. Don't just buy by price point. Buy by what the quality is, what you love, what you think is going to work for the long run. And don't be sold furniture. Just like don't be sold a car, don't be sold a house. Buy things, which means you have a choice. I worked with a client, God love her. They bought this big, beautiful modern farmhouse in a new subdivision. And I know they paid a lot of money for the house, but the husband went out to the furniture store and he was sold furniture, and she did not like any of it. And she didn't want to upset him because they were just about to get married. And she didn't want to upset the apple cart, so she went along. The dining room table was too big for the space. And everything matched, like the love seat, the two sofas, they all matched, and they were too big for the space. She couldn't do anything else in the room. He bought the same furniture. No, he was sold the same furniture for every bedroom in the house, including the master bedroom. And it was all sets. Like the nightstands matched the dressers, matched the headboard. And it was like, and she was going nuts. She was like, this is not my style at all. This is not what I want. What do I do with this? I said, can you take it back? Can you return the furniture? And she said, we still do have time to do that. And I said, well, that would be my first recommendation, because nothing was curated. This big, beautiful home, and everything looked like it came off the showroom floor, because it did. So just because a store puts the bed, the nightstand, and the dresser, they want you to see everything that collection has. But it doesn't mean you buy the collection. It means you find the pieces that you love in that collection. Maybe it's just the bed. Maybe you need different nightstands. Maybe that would be a really good idea. Or maybe you don't even need a dresser in the bedroom. Maybe you have closets that are walk-in and you have everything you need. Perhaps in that space where there would be a dresser, you could put a couple of chairs and a little table, and you can sit in there and read your book or have coffee in the morning or just look out your window in your backyard. So think about how you're going to use the pieces that you love. Make sure you and your significant others including your mother-in-law and your best friend, if they have to have an input and you trust that input, are all on the same page. So take that Pinterest page or pages and see if there's a common denominator, and that common denominator becomes the style that you're going for. That makes sense. And then try to spend the most money in your budget on the important pieces: your sofa, your dining room table, your bar stools. Maybe you just, your bed.
Yeah.
Right. And then think about where you can save money. And those would be things like perhaps your nightstands.
True.
Or if you want to put...
Which, by the way, they always get ruined because I put water down there at night. And every time I buy a nightstand, I'm like, oh, I'm never going to put the water. I put water on my... It always get ruined. Sorry.
And you ruin it, yes. And of course, your higher-end furnishings will probably have a barcode finish on it so that you don't necessarily ruin your furniture, but most pieces don't. And I always recommend to my clients to keep those little, coasters.
Yeah.
In the nightstand by your bed, or a pretty little bowl that your glass will fit in, flat on the bottom, or a tray. Put your tray on top of your nightstand. So there's other things that you can do. So those are some of the red flags that can become green flags, I suppose, if you decide you want to go out and do it on your own. And that's fine. Also keep in mind, don't set yourself a hard budget. I can't spend any more than X.
Yeah.
Because X is going to always be X plus. Take into account the things you haven't considered. Okay, you find a sofa, it's $3,000.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How long is it going to take? It's in a store, but that's just the showroom piece.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take to get to you? A month, 6 months, a year? I've had all of those. Is the fabric a fabric that is going to wear well?
Got it.
What about the tax?
Yeah.
Sales tax. What about shipping and handling? Your higher quality pieces are going to offer white glove service.
Yeah.
Do you even know what white glove service entails? It means those guys are going to take that piece of furniture. They're going to move, if there's anything in there, they're going to move that out of the way. They may even move it to another room for you. They're going to take that, say a sofa, they're going to put it exactly where you want it. They're going to take all the paper off of it. They're going to fluff the cushions. They're going to put it together for you. They're going to put the legs on if that need be. They're going to take the boxes and the pallets, and they're going to take it all away. And all you're left with is what you purchased. And sometimes it's worth paying for that service, because otherwise they're leaving it at your front door.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out how to get an 8-foot sofa into your living room, or maybe into a den or into an upstairs room. So think about the costs involved. The other thing you have to take into consideration is if you have furnishings and you're going to need to move stuff out of your house, you're going to have to pay a moving company. You might have to need a storage building.
Yeah.
I've hired moving companies all the time when I work with clients who have stuff, but we don't want to use that stuff. They want to put that old furniture in the kids', bonus room. And that's upstairs. So you have to hire a moving company to come and do that for you. And so there are a lot of costs involved. So that's why I say don't lock yourself into, I can't spend any more than $6,000 or $7,000, and that's it. Because that $7,000 is going to become 10 if you're not careful. Very quickly, or more. So take into consideration some of those things when you're doing this on your own. And again, a professional can help you through this and even know who to call, to move your furniture, because do you really want to sit down and start calling moving companies and find out who's going to give you the best rate? Or do you want to work with somebody who somebody's worked with for years?
Yeah.
And knows they're going to do the right thing, and know they're going to place that right. Yeah.
I want you.
Well, thank you. So it's about being smart. It's about having a strategy, a plan, and some of the things to take into consideration, and I've talked about this before as well, is paint. Paint is such an inexpensive way to change the way things look. But a lot of paint is used incorrectly. A lot of color is used incorrectly. It can be moody, but it can also go dark. like a cave? Do you want it to be light and fresh? That doesn't mean you throw yellow paint on the walls. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it means you just use the right color tones to bring the light into the room without making it look like, like sunshine every time you walk in, and it makes your eyes do funny. So there's ways to utilize color. If you want to make a room look bigger, you use lighter tones. But what if you like dark things? Well, then you use your dark in your furniture. Maybe you have light colored walls, but you have a navy blue couch, or you have navy blue walls and a cream colored couch. And then your rug is from both of those colors, and your window treatments pull from there. True. So there has to be a balance.
Yeah. All right.
Color is the most important balance. And then,
what were you saying?
I was just going to say, you've got your budget, you've got your plan, and you've got your color palette.
Perfect.
And don't get caught up in, I've got to throw this color on the walls because it matches this and it matches that and it matches everything. It's not about matching. It's about blending.
Okay.
It's about creating an overall aesthetic, a feel in your house that makes you go from room to room to room, and you go, be part of that 2%, rather than the 98% who have just blindly walked in and either been led by a salesperson. And I've worked with some great salespeople in furniture stores, but do remember, they do work on commission. And they are there to sell pieces.
I know.
And if one comes to you and you don't get the vibe, just say, thank you very much. I'm going to look right now, and I'll let somebody know when I'm ready to perhaps purchase or discuss something. Don't be intimidated by the salesperson who may not be there in 3 months or 3 weeks, or just started yesterday and has no design background, or they have a training course. It's okay to say, that's not what I'm looking for. Thank you very much. And if they keep showing you stuff you're not looking for, that's not your salesperson.
No, it's too annoying. I get it. I agree. Unfortunately, we are out of time, though. Sorry. We've been on such a roll. How do we reach you? Could you mind sharing?
Yes, kissingtreeproperties.com. On House under the Pro section for Kissing Tree Properties LLC, or 479-790-9923. It's been such a pleasure being here. This is my last show with you for now.
Is it? Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. I didn't know that.
It's been great working with you. Yeah,
Same
it's been
here.
Great working with you. And I hope you feel better soon.
Thank you. Until next time. We won't say goodbye, but pleasure having you on here, Marla, and congratulations on everything and best of luck with all you're doing. Bye-bye, honey.
Thank you, Jill. Bye-bye.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.